come in terms of any sales inquiries. Okay. Now Google provides analytics. Many people, you can use this Google tags, which is free, and it will tell you what kind of browsers and people will come to your website, right? What I'm going to show it to you is some of the analytics that for our website, right? And then you can understand this part. So we have given tags for our website and Open Mentor, right? In fact, one person is asking, is this webinar promoting? No, we are not promoting anything. This is one of the tools. Obviously, I need to show some tool since we are a partner to CompuWare, but definitely since we are a partner, we are happy to this, right? Now, Open Mentor, I am going to this openmentor.net. Google Analytics provides this information. How many clicks happened, how many visits happened, that you can always see. Now, this provides amazing amount of intelligence. On the left hand side, you could see something called traffic sources. Okay. If you use these traffic sources and hold on a second. I'll say visitors. Let me go to visitors. There is something called how many visitors came to you, and there is something called the browser compatibilities. If you click on these browsers, right, it tells you the people, right? People who are coming to, of the 19,682 unique visits, right? We are talking about Firefox is 93%, Internet Explorer is 3%, Chrome is 2%. Again, this is not the browser share in the market. The people who accessed Open Mentor in this period of time used this version, Firefox, right? Again, if I click on Firefox, so many people used many browsers, but if I click on Firefox, it will tell me which version of Firefox people used. It very clearly says 96% of the people used 3.5.6 Firefox version. Only 148 visits came with 6.0.2, 92 visits with 7.0.1. Google Analytics provides this. Okay. So initially, if you are piloting your product for some time, then obviously you can understand which versions you need to support most. I will always say, okay, top 5 versions. We cannot eternally test for everything. Otherwise, I need to test 50 different browsers and OS combination, which will be time killer. So I can always say, take top 5 or top 10 and then do the testing. That is extremely important. Okay. So this is how you can prioritize your environments, right? The same thing can give you information about geographies, whether they are coming from North America, they are coming from Asia Pacific. That also matters in terms of speed. Now, again, this browser compatibility is mostly with web-based applications. But compatibility testing will always be like, it need not be browser compatibility alone. It can always be, for example, it can always be like this. If I use a .NET rich client application, right? When I say rich client application, which is a Windows based, then I can say, does it work with .NET Framework 3.0 with 3.5, right? With 4.0? So did you test it with different .NET Framework? Suppose it's a Java application, right? There are different JVMs available. So did you test it with different JVMs? That is also compatibility testing. The compatibility testing is change the environment. Change the environment, right? Then obviously behavior and display will be different for applications. You may have to deal with that. Google Analytics is for real time. Yes, it is in real time. So you need to register for Google Analytics. They will give you a tag. That tag you need to give in your web pages. Then only it can analyze the data, right? But it will give you absolute information, right? Now, another thing, right? Another major thing is, this is not only compatibility testing, not only stops at browser level. Imagine a situation like one customer uses Tomcat 5.0, another uses Tomcat 6.0, and you are giving the same web application to both of them. How do you know your application works with 5.0 Tomcat and 6.0 Tomcat? You need to test it. So that is also compatibility testing. All I'm trying to say here is it is huge. It is really huge. It is not that simple, right? And can I pretty much, one person is asking, can I pretty much do the same thing what you did for .NET 3.5, 3.0, 4.0? I don't know a tool. There may be a tool, but I don't know whether it will work with any single tool, right? I'm not sure. But and another thing that you need to look at is database compatibility also. For example, imagine product A, right? Product A released last year uses MySQL 5.0, right? New release uses MySQL 6.0. But the problem is, from last year to this year, 100 customers may be already using 5.0. New customers, another 20 customers may be coming to 6.0. So your product should work with 5.0 as well as 6.0. Did you test your product with MySQL? Did you test your product with two different versions? That is also compatibility, right? Then there are different products. The products will say it will work for MySQL as well as Oracle. That means they have tested their product with MySQL as database, with Oracle as database. That is also compatibility testing. So compatibility, the final word, right? Compatibility can be browser, can be web server, maybe runtime like .NET Framework runtime or JVM, or it may be database, right? Or it may be service packs, right? If you see Windows service, for example, service pack 1, service pack 2, right? Okay. Is the audio better now? Can you please raise the hand? Okay. I think a few people have got this issue, but others are not having the problem. Okay. Fine. Let us move to interoperability. Okay. Interoperability is, right, very similar to compatibility, right? Interoperability is very similar to compatibility. What is the difference then? What is the difference between this and that, right? Then change in OS, change in hardware, right? Okay, before that, one person is asking, what is the disadvantage of this tool? To my knowledge, I don't see a disadvantage. But always, as you said, cost, right? Cost is always a factor people will look into it, right? So my question is, if you want more audience, you need to spend money, right? So if you want less audience, you can be happy. We cannot, and all browsers are not exactly equal, and all databases are not ideal. So there is no way that you can really tell, right? Unless you test it. Correct? Okay, I think people still complain voice disturbance. Let me do one thing. Let me reconnect. Okay. Is it better now? Is the audio better now? Can you please raise the hands? Good. Typical network issues. Okay. Fine. The significant difference between compatibility and interoperability is change in the OS and change in the hardware. For example, again I am going back to Gomez tool, okay, and looking at start, okay. You could see the browser and operating system combination. It is not just browser alone. The moment I do across operating systems, right, then obviously there is a need for testing. Okay. Okay, I close this tool because I think now the voice should be better. Okay. How is it now? Hope the voice is better now, because when I the problem is when I access the other sites also, right, it consumes bandwidth, so that is why it is going off. So for example, I'm saying test application in Firefox 4.0 in XP. I say WinXP. Now I am doing the same thing, Firefox 4.0 in, I say Fedora Linux, right? It is the same browser, but what changed is the operating system. Did you notice in the previous window where I showed Gomez, you saw operating system and the browser combination? If so, can you please raise the hands? Great. That is another killer. Now I am increasing the complexity. Previously I said only about browser testing. Then I said browser and versions. Now I am saying browser, version, right, plus operating system configuration. Operating system configuration is another major problem. That is actually adding lot more complexity. That is why, though it is still compatibility, when you change operating system, we call it with a different name. Compatibility and interoperability, they are cousins. They are not conceptually different, but there is a minor glass wall between them. If I change the OS, then obviously I need to retest. That's another problem, right? Whether Safari will work the same way in Apple and in Windows, we don't know. You need to test it. There is no other way but to test it. So, browser, okay, version, OS, version. This whole combination is a killer. Testing again and again all the pages and the behavior is called interoperability testing. Give me a classic example. Okay. Now, let me take this one. Let us take, in fact, one person has asked, who does this interoperability testing? Let us take Firefox itself. Right? Take Firefox itself. The development community of Firefox, within that company, people should have tested Firefox in Linux, Red Hat Linux, Fedora Linux, XP, Vista. So they do. Right? Take MySQL. MySQL people, development company of MySQL will test it against so many operating systems, right? So a mere compatibility may be just browser, but interoperability meaning multiple browsers, multiple operating systems. So you change the operating system itself, then see how it behaves. It will be different, right? Someone is asking, will Gomez test it free? No, the Gomez is not a free tool. But in one click, we can test browsers, versions, OS, versions. So you are attacking compatibility and interoperability, right? And now, there is one more thing. Change device or hardware, right? Or more than anything else, hardware. Test it. This is especially in mobile. Mobile applications need to go through a lot of interoperability. For mobile applications, this is the holy grail. Test it across so many mobile applications, mobile models, right? Who can test it? For example, you develop an application, right? Let us take Skype. The standard example, Skype. Skype can work in Nokia. Skype can work in Samsung. Skype can work in iPhone, right? So many models of phones, so many screen resolutions. Can you test it? Now I am going to the Skype site itself. Okay? Hold on for a second. Hold on. It takes a lot of time. Skype. Good. Look at this. When I go to get Skype for Windows, Mac, Linux. Then for mobile, iPad, Android, iPhone, right? And it is now available Panasonic on these TVs also, right? I click on these other phones, right? You click on it, you'll be really surprised. On so many models, on so many devices, on so many screen resolutions, they test it, right? I think I clicked on some other link, okay? This means Skype has really tested on so many models, right? Is it possible? This is called, we call it as interoperability. When you are moving across operating systems, when you are moving across devices, hardware, right? iPad is a different hardware. Symbian, Nokia is a different hardware, right? I click on Symbian, right? Then you'll be really surprised. If you install the application on different OS and test it, right? If you install it on a different device and then test it, that is called interoperability, right? So Skype is saying Symbian is Nokia. Nokia has got too many models. So Skype has tested on all these things. So what is the advantage? In fact, one person has raised a question, right? What is the advantage? Of testing on so many devices, right? Now look at this. Skype is having almost 700 million users, right? And Microsoft acquired Skype for $8 billion. Remember the first thing, more users, more money. When you say more users, more environments. More environments you get, you need to test. Development team will say it will work unless you install that OS and unless you install it on the device. There is no way you can grab the market, right? So this is the key, right? So do you understand the complexity of interoperability testing across devices and across hardware and across OS? Can you please raise the hands if so?